welcome back to another episode of the Public Announcement Podcast. And today we have a very interesting topic to talk about. It's not going to be too much of the criticizing as we have done in the past. It's going to be more helpful tips and things that I began with. I thought about returning to it. And it is a bit connected to the New Year's theme and, starting the new decade and everything. So today we are going to be talking about consistent planning, something that I have been doing and it's kind of working out for me quite well. And I can safely say that it's one of those things that if you try out and, well, let's say in the worst case they don't work, they don't really hurt anybody, they don't cost any money. So what are we actually talking about? Now, as I mentioned, it's consistent planning. So we need to get two words out of our... So we need to define two words first in order to get the full meaning of the word. Of the phrase. So let's define consistency. Now, consistency means that you do something every day and it's permanent. It's something like a habit. Consistency is sort of the key to success when you want to improve in any skill that I can think of. I mean, if you don't do a skill consistently, you're not gonna get anywhere. Lots of people actually mix consistency with having one very productive session and then having of weak or nothing. That is not very good, and I'll explain why. The thing is that you are going to do more. For example, if you say that you're writing a book, for example, and you tell yourself, I'm gonna write 100 words every day. Not a big goal, not something you would have to spend, 12 hours doing. Something minor, 100 words, I think everybody can spit that one out without any problem. But in a week you collect 700 words, and then you've got the person that is in those super creative moments or super creative sessions, and he does maybe 1,000 words in 2 weeks, or maybe 400 words in a week. On one of those weekdays he writes 400 words. Now the guy who consistently writes those 100 words, he gets into a habit of writing those 100 words, and if he doesn't that day, he misses it. He wants to somehow fix it, so maybe the next day he writes 2 times 100 words to sort of undo the mistake from the previous day. While the second guy after having his productive session, he's like, okay, I had my productive session, now I can rest for a week or procrastinate or do nothing. Now this is not a way how to learn skill. It's consistently getting back to the skill, and even if you have nothing new to bring or you don't want to learn nothing new, just revise the basics. I mean, for example, if you are learning how to draw, there is nothing wrong with going back to the basics once or twice when you really don't know what to draw or you have nothing at the moment you feel like learning. You repeat, you maybe see that you have some mistake or something, and that may encourage you to get better at the certain skill or to just improve the mistake that you made. Now, another thing that we need to get out of the way is planning. Now, when people say planning, lots of people think of something very unfun and boring and just stable and corporate-like, but planning does not exactly have to be that. It's not about when I say planning your day out, I don't mean exactly time stamping everything you have to do. At 12 I have lunch, at 13 I have a meeting, at 15 I want to be home, blah, 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 blah. That's not what you have to do. What I mean by planning is, for example, saying, okay, this day I will practice some math problems and then I will draw. Those are 2 activities that you might be able to do throughout your day, and if you complete them, you pretty much are successful that day with your plan. It's a small goal or small something that you want to do during that day. Either makes you happy or just improves a skill that you need. And it's very necessary to have at least a simple plan so you know into which direction you're heading and you know what you want to achieve. And it's necessary to work towards that direction every day consistently because you have to get to some certain final goal. Everybody has a certain final goal that he or she wants to get to, and it's necessary to plan your steps towards it out. And it's also necessary to have a plan or somehow plan out your days so you can notice or keep track of the improvements. I mean, if you are learning a skill, for example, if you're learning to cook, you want to note somewhere how are you doing with your cooking Because if you're not improving as fast as you would like to, or maybe you're not improving at all, or maybe it has the exact opposite effect, then it might be time to change your method. So you might say, okay, I won't do it this way. I'll try, I don't know, I'll try, give it a pause with cooking. I'll try something else and I'll get back to cooking. It helps you keep track of the process and be more organized with it. So planning is really a good thing. When I want to give like a hands-on tip, I would suggest, and I heavily would suggest, you buy one of those yearly journals, that they begin in January and in December. It's always for 1 year. And every day, write down 2 or 3 activities that you would like to do. And that move you towards a certain direction. Not writing like video games 3 hours and, well, then you fulfill it and good. It has to be something meaningful. It has to be something that moves you forward. It can even be reading. You can just say, okay, I'm gonna read some literature, and that way I'm gonna gain more insight, or I'm gonna read some professional book. And you can, that totally can be your goal. It can be, I don't know, practicing maths, but make it not too vague. Make it exact, so you exactly know what you have to get into, what are your priorities, and then after you complete these 2 or 3 activities, have your day off. Spend your time however you want. I know some people watch videos, some people play video games, some people go out with their friends. Reward yourself with whatever the fuck you want. It's none of my business what you want to do in your free time. But this way we get to the consistent planning. So consistent planning, the more brighter view might have already connected the dots. Consistent planning is planning your every single day and planning it in such direction that you are heading towards a certain goal. Now, you don't need a master class or seminars or buying Udemy courses in order to become really good at something. When you are beginning, it would be helpful to just search the internet for some resources and make that your final goal. For example, you see a video of an artist drawing a beautiful background, and you say, okay, in a year I would like to draw, or at least have the skills to draw such background. Perfectly fine goal, perfectly reachable in my opinion at least. And then you can start with the consistent planning. As I said, you can have that little journal of yours, or if you don't like writing down and journaling and carrying an extra book with you, fine. You can keep it on your phone. I mean, you have a calendar there. You can just write down into the calendar, or you can have that reminder app, where you just write down reminders. And after you've done the activity, you just erase it. And if you haven't done it, you keep it on there until you don't do it. Very simple system. You can make it fully digital, or you can be an old-fashioned journaling man. You can use the journal to write down your thoughts and sum up your days. Do whatever fits you. The consistent planning part of the equation means that you get down a certain plan, you lay out your battle plan in a way, and you want to win the war so you can get to a certain goal or get better at a skill. And as I already mentioned, it also helps you to track the improvements. You know that at the beginning of the year you weren't able to draw anything. Now, 3 months in, you are pretty confident in drawing, figures or human beings, right? It helps because it makes you more organized. Now, what I like you to think about is what 2 or 3 activities you would put into your day, because I would stress that this is important for everybody. I think that people can get very easily lost at life or very easily depressed when they lose direction and when they lose sense of time. I think losing sense of time is the worst that can happen to you, because then you are just in this weird limbo and you don't really know how to get out or if you will get out. You just know you just don't want to be in that position. And again, nobody wants to be. Journaling and consistent planning and everything, that keeps time on your side. You are capable to comprehend what day is it, what you want to achieve that day, if that day is going well, and you can evaluate your days. Sure thing. There will be days when you won't get anything done because, something comes up or you are not able to do it, and you will just have to do it the other day, or you will just, put X's in your journal that you haven't done it. It's perfectly fine. And when learning new skills, you usually end up coming to an obstacle. So your plan might differ. Just because you made a plan doesn't mean you have to 100% follow it. You can and you should adapt it to the current conditions so it's the most comfortable for you, because the plan is supposed to serve you. Now, you're not making a plan because I told you so. I want you to think about it. I want you to really think about it. If this is not something you need, if you're disorganized or if you're not getting things done, then this is exactly what you need. And I know I'm disorganized. I'm heavily fucking disorganized, and I procrastinate a lot. And my journal, where I keep things on what I am supposed to do, keep me in touch with the reality, so I don't go off rails too much. So I don't just spend my days doing nothing, right? And make sure that every day has these activities. Don't give yourself cheat days, because cheat days turn into cheat weeks, cheat months, cheat years, and then a cheat life. So make sure that every day has a certain small plan. Take baby steps. It isn't a shame. Nobody's going to look over your shoulders and change your plan. The plan is for you, and you should take baby steps, because you are not gonna do something groundbreaking in a day. That takes consistent effort, right? So yeah, make sure you have these baby steps planned out for every day. Do it consistently. Keep it up. Don't give up easily. Just because you came to an obstacle or something isn't going your way doesn't mean the plan is falling apart and you have no chance of redemption. And one of the most important things is make sure you don't hustle 24/7. Make sure to include rest or relaxation. Now, it's not only important for your brain to chill out a bit, and you might get a good idea while doing that. It's also important for your body and everything. Don't negate sleep. That's bullshit. Don't negate sleep. And don't negate things that actually make you happy, because even developing skills should be fun for you, and you should be developing skills that are fun for you and you enjoy in your private time. And yeah, I believe that everybody can get a bit better with consistent planning. And since we have the new year here and everybody wants to be a better version of himself, we even got the new decade. I think the consistent planning is one of the New Year's resolutions everybody should stick to and everybody should have. But that's just my opinion. And if it doesn't work for you, then who am I to tell you that you should keep up with it? And that, my folks, is the end of this episode. Thank you so much for listening. And then, as I already mentioned countless times, another English episode will be coming in 2 weeks' time, so we'll hear each other in English at that point. Thank you so much for listening.